Hello, everyone. Pardon the currently a little awkward setup. Jason had to go run and do something really quick. He will be back momentarily, which is why we have both of these things on. And Jen will also be here momentarily as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our wonderful I wanted to say Thanksgiving, but it's not Thanksgiving.
Words.
Halloween stream.
Words. Words are
Hi,
fun.
nerds. Paint Liquor, hello. T-Schmidt, hello.
Words are fun.
Thank you for the follow, annoying newsletters.
Annoying
That's
newsletters.
amazing.
Hey, wait. You just joined the Discord, too. Didn't you?
Oh, really?
I think so. That rings a bell. Should it? I feel like it should.
Woo.
I feel like just before I came in here, I welcomed all the newcomers onto the Discord, and I feel like annoying newsletters was one of them.
Treebeard Prince, hello. My first time being here for the start. Well, hello and welcome.
Paint Liquor says, typical deadbeat dad, always late. Who's that? I was here before you were.
I think he might be referring to you.
I was here before you were.
Whether or not that's correct, I will not pass judgment.
I've been here since 7:30.
That's true. I did not get here at 7:30.
I went to go fill my paint cup, yes. That is not leaving. That is not going to the corner store for cigarettes and coffee like your dad.
Hey, I need to run to the corner store for some cigarettes and some coffee. I'll be back.
Time to cry, chat. Now's the time we cry.
Baby J's not gonna leave you.
Baby J's not gonna leave you. Somebody clip that. That was perfect. Baby J's not gonna leave you. He gave the Baby J point. What's the point in the Baby J point?
The point is, I'm gonna paint something very cool for Kyle. For the upcoming
Why in
event.
the world would you do that?
Because he put on a really cool event on Saturday, and I had a blast. And I would like to support his experiences doing it going forward.
Doing good, nice things for good, nice people.
Yeah. It's
All right, that's going to stretch. Me calling Kyle good and nice. That's a little bit of a stretch.
He is a bad influence.
A little bit of a stretch.
He is certainly a bad influence. I'll do that for sure.
The point is, Baby J loves us no matter what. Game delay? I thought you were an attorney.
Well, jury's out.
I thought you would realize that you don't really put that much faith in humanity.
I got nothing but faith in humanity.
Game delay says, I can say stuff that's just as dumb as the next guy.
That's awesome.
That restores my faith in attorneys right there.
Oh, the Paint Liquor. So how did it go, Baby J? Did you win them all? No. I got last place.
You got the wooden spoon,
I got the wooden spoon.
which was a Land Raider. He probably got a better prize than the winner.
It turned out pretty good for me, to be honest with you. Not only did I win the wooden spoon prize, but I also won the prize for I won a random prize too. So I got like 10 Marines and I got a whole Land Raider. Deals.
Deals.
I'm
glad you had a good time.
It was super fun. Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, all the opponents that I had were like super fun and were easygoing opponents.
Nice.
There's like one in particular that I had an absolutely fantastic time with, and you know, it was good.
I like to hear it.
So because of that, I'm gonna paint yellow on stream.
Oh gosh. Now you're just getting crazy. Now you're just talking nonsense.
What do you mean nonsense?
Now you're just talking nonsense. Nonsensical malarkey.
I mean, it's got to come from somewhere. So I figure I'll do like an hour on this guy, and then I'll do an hour on this guy today. And I'll be technically painting yellow in both respects. So, you're right, Paint Liquor. I did take the tactical victory.
I don't remember what I did with his skin. Time to go back and watch the VOD.
You don't remember what you did?
No.
That's a bummer.
Was I supposed to?
Yeah. A little bit.
Was I supposed to remember?
Oops. That was almost gloss varnish.
Don't do that.
In there. Wait, what happened? Did you snag? Oh, no, never mind. Never mind. Ignore me. But sienna. We're starting with a little bit of mahogany. And then we're going to go burnt sienna. What's up, Tim? How's it going? How was your weekend?
My weekend?
Yeah.
Thanks for asking. It was great.
Excellent.
I did nothing. And lots of it.
Did you pet the dog?
Oh, yeah, I did do that.
Yeah.
To
I feel like those...
To the point where this morning she was not happy that it was not the weekend any longer.
Oh, no.
You could tell. She was like all on the couch. I posted a picture and cute pet pics on Discord. Because she was up on the couch with both paws up on the arm and was not having Dad leaving. She does that. If I just stay here, he can't leave.
Oh, no. How long were you trapped?
Oh, I didn't. I just left anyway. But she's a dog.
She's a dog.
She doesn't have opposable thumbs. What's she's going to do? Nothing. Nothing.
Dogs are crafty.
Well, and last night was not fun for her. She had the super poops.
Oh, no.
For some reason yesterday. And so we didn't feed her last night.
Oh, no. So she was not...
We fasted her last night to clear up her bowels a little bit. Gladiator, what's going on? 147, when's that weathering product coming out? Soon.
Hashtag soon.
Soon-ish. We hope to have more good info on it for you in the next couple weeks.
We are very excited about it, though. Alright. Moving on from burnt sienna to burnt orange.
You right over there?
Yeah, I ate my my croissant sandwich really fast. And I think some of it some of it got into like my windpipe. So I'm trying to clear it out. Turns out your lungs don't particularly like solid things getting into them.
Oh, excuses.
What, you like breathing in sawdust all the time?
Who doesn't?
I don't.
Why did you make a sandwich out of sawdust?
I did not, to be fair.
Hey.
What happened? You drop it? Or did it fall off?
Falling off this damn thing.
You want the bigger one?
I'm using the wrong one. No.
Okay.
I don't want to inconvenience you over there.
Not an inconvenience. Happy to do it.
Why'd you buy a sandwich made with sawdust? See, exactly, Game Delay. The flow of logic with this one is a little rough to follow sometimes.
It's mostly because I say weird things that pop into my head.
You could have just stopped after the say weird things part. It's mostly just because I say weird things, period.
I mean, that's not wrong.
They don't like liquid either. Turns out they only like oxygenated air. Plaid paint is not the latest product until 2073. I thought it was like 2079 or 94 or something now. He keeps pushing it out.
No.
This is what you get when you put Jordan in charge of production.
No. Lumberjack Tim pushed it out. So y'all can place the blame squarely on his shoulders, and not mine.
Hoosier says soon for real, or soon like I tell my kids when I don't want to deal with it. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You got it.
Awkwardish Panda with the raid. Holy cow, that's a big old pile of bodies.
Hello, Awkwardish.
Hello.
Hello, Raiders.
Welcome everybody to our Monday stream. I hope you are enjoying your lunch.
Awkwardish. So I came in and I followed your stream because it caught you live for the first time, right? And you have your stream, or Twitch has your stream set to verified chatters only. And those of us who are actually verified with Twitch, like have been partnered for years and have the verified check mark and have gone through all their background check stuff, can't talk in those chats for some reason. So I'm sorry. I was typing and it was not letting me chat because of whatever. It says verify your phone number, and then you type in my phone number that's associated with the account, and it says this phone number is already associated with a verified account.
Wait. That doesn't...
It's happened over the last year to me, randomly, just because. It's horrible. It's horrible. I feel so bad because I come in and I was like, oh, awesome, and I hit the follow button, and then everybody starts like asking me questions or talking about Monument Hobbies, and I'm like, well, it may not be on your end. I've never seen that choice, but yeah, if you can change it from verified chatters only, it helps a lot. I don't know who else has that problem, but we can't, and Twitch support refuses to do anything about it. So, because Twitch.
Because Twitch.
Because
just Twitch things.
Twitch doing Twitch things. I was going to say hi and all those great things and all the nice things you said. We were going to put hearts in chat. So, thank you.
Well,
and thank you for the raid, and welcome, Raiders.
We can put hearts in chat now.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Hope y'all had a great weekend.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. All right. Maybe
had to have security turned up for a bit due to multiple hate raids. That's silly.
Hate raids?
What
What
the
the hell's a hate raid? And why in the world does that occur?
Because people on the internet are people on the internet sometimes.
By hate raid, do you mean like people actually from a channel raid you and say bad stuff? Like they just gather up the pitchforks and come at you?
Sounds like it.
Because that's like abusively childish. There's no place for stuff like that.
Yeah, it happens. What the heck? That's ridiculous.
Children.
Yes.
Calm down, children.
Calm down, children.
There's enough dessert for everybody.
Bots programmed to say horrific things. What the heck? Ugh.
You had one that was like over 1,000 accounts telling you why you didn't deserve to exist, and this was a raid?
Apparently.
You can set raids up to be only from accounts you follow. That's your easy thing to do.
I think that's something that they did.
Check that box that says only allow accounts I follow to raid me. That's been around for a while. That should help. But that sucks. If people raid here with 1,000 people being hateful, we would introduce them to the power of Acryl. Change their lives. Mean people exist is the gist of it. Welcome. This is not a place where mean people exist.
Yep. Only fun and awesome people here.
I mean, except for if you want to count Jordan.
Whoa.
He gets angry and like unbearable occasionally.
Wait, did you just say I get angry?
But usually he's okay.
Wait, I get angry?
And he gives you a little bit of a warning because he starts talking about tartar sauce. So if he starts in with the tartar sauce, you'll know it's about to get bad. But we try to keep it under control around here. So
this guy throwing me under the tartar sauce bus again. I see how it is, Jason.
Hopefully there is no tartar sauce bus, by the way.
There probably is a bus that has tartar sauce plastered on the side of it.
I'm really hoping for no tartar sauce bus.
Okay. Well, we're getting to our Imperial Fists yellow. Looking pretty good so far.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Reds and oranges work wonders for undertones for yellow. I am a fan.
Hey, somebody likes
Dice
us.
Strauss, what's going on? DTNX, what's going on? Thank you for the follows. Welcome, everyone. It is Monday. I've been having a very... I can't call it a slow start because I've already done a lot today. But holy, getting into the swing of it was rough.
Yeah? Rough Monday?
Hadn't been the best. Not the worst. I think it's just one of those where I'm so like over encumbered with my to-do list.
Yep.
It's easier to just sit there and like shell shock.
I definitely like left our meeting this morning and was like, okay, I have a list of things I need to get done today.
Yeah.
So I can definitely understand where you are coming from.
Ermacron Sumeru.
Ermacron Sumeru?
The Wienermobile. The Tartar bus and the Wienermobile do not go together. They are not allowed on the same roads, by the way.
Well, you can put tartar sauce on hot dogs. What's wrong
Chat.
What's wrong with tartar sauce on hot dogs?
Hey, chat. Who's going to do the honors?
Hi, Tim.
Monument Hobbies Europe win. We have a distributor there, PK Pro.
Element Games is not Monument Hobbies.
No,
They are
Element Games is our UK distributor.
Yeah. To be fair, I've never actually had tartar sauce on a hot dog, and it doesn't actually sound appetizing. If that makes y'all feel any better.
I don't know if it does or not. I think that we feel worse because you would lie to us like that.
I don't know if I would.
You
lie
would
to
troll us
anybody
like that? I feel like that was trolling.
Oh, I certainly would troll y'all like that.
After we just got finished saying that, well, I did tell them that you were mean. So
Yes.
I guess that counts.
That is, yep. That happened just now.
It's a Jen!
Hi,
Everybody
Jen.
be nice to Jen. She's just been dealing with problems, so.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
I hope you have a better Monday.
Well,
We've started the stream off right, with a bunch of jokes at my expense.
oh,
Oh, here we go again.
Am I lying?
Poor baby Jay.
Hey, I'm not saying I disliked them. I was just stating a fact.
did anyone explain to Brushlicker that Element Games is not on
Yes.
your hobby?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Read right
They're
below
Element
that.
Games. Okay, what kind of food stuff are we talking about today? Because Game Delay said I appreciate that Baby J is trying to be open-minded and not shaming people for the food they like.
It's better left alone.
I may or may not have alluded to somebody putting tartar sauce on a hot dog. Was not me, for the record.
You didn't do that?
No, I did not do
Okay,
that.
well that's good. Tartar sauce bar.
But I certainly mentioned it as a condiment that could go on a hot dog.
Here we go.
I mean, you're really trying hard to make tartar sauce happen, I think. And
I like tartar sauce. I have no problem.
Awkwardish. Doing great. It's a good old Monday around the ranch. It's hard to say that things are ever not great working at Monument Hobbies.
That is true. Even when we have technical difficulties with things.
Yeah. We also had some technical difficulties with the stream too.
Today?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It ended up being something that I had seen before, but not presented in a way that I had ever seen it before. And Gabe was like, "Oh yeah, because I changed something."
Oh.
Gabe didn't do anything wrong. It just changed how it presented. So I was like, "Gabe, what is happening right now?"
Apologize for eating crackers. But I'm real hungry and I didn't have time to eat.
I'll allow it. Not that I have any permissions to allow that sort of thing here.
Awkwardish, how is your week going? How was the stream? I was only able to hang out for a minute. Obviously I got bummed because I couldn't talk, so. Hopefully all that finished out great. I'm painting dead dudes, or guys that are at least playing dead. This is my body pile for Percival. We're going to pop him off his base and plant him firmly on top of this pile of adventurers. Or guards preventing adventuring. You're off stream.
Oh, sorry.
He says, Game Delay says, to double check, Baby J, was that golden yellow over a mahogany base coat?
No.
I feel like there had to be something in the middle.
There were. So it was mahogany. Honestly, you could probably skip the mahogany and just go burnt sienna into burnt orange, and then into warm yellow with a little bit of ivory mixed in. And then I'm glazing over with yellow transparent right now.
Hey, Slayer Street. Paint liquor has been accosted on all sides. We got paint liquor, professional paint liquor, and brush liquor.
You're all wrong.
But brush
You're
liquor,
all
yeah.
wrong.
Brush liquor, you can check the link that Jen just put up to. It'll point you to some other European retailers that we have. Although I don't know that they're all on that list. There's been more set up since that they have not given us info for. But PK Pro carries all the stuff. Game Delay says this is what I get for paying more attention to my job than to the stream. I mean, how dare you?
Yeah, we're like the most important thing in the world.
How dare you? Yeah. Your job pays your bills. Blah, blah, blah. Right?
Awkwardish Panda is making some kind of 90s shopping mall themed diorama.
I like it.
That's cool.
So when you say obnoxious diorama for Games Day, what is included in it? When you say 90s shopping mall themed, I feel like it's either like Dawn of the Dead. Like, is there zombies? Because for some reason, shopping mall themed fantasy things always lead me to think of Dawn of the Dead.
For Golden Demon.
Avian, it's always time.
Oh.
All right.
It's closer to start time than end time, Avian, so...
You win.
What's up?
Just so y'all are still aware, I just mixed a little bit of brown transparent into the dregs of the previous mix that I poured out of the airbrush. Add a little bit of warmth to the shadows.
So Orange Julius...
Take back the food court.
Orange Julius, a Space Marine, and Dairy Queen, a Canoness will take back the food court.
I'm loving this
That sounds
concept
awesome.
already.
Pixel Hunter, hello.
Pancasito, what's going on?
Somebody likes us.
I talk about Orange Julius maybe like once a year.
Julius is really good.
I don't think I've ever had
I
it.
remember it being good, but it's one of those things that I probably feel like if I were to have it today, I would not think it was very good.
I think you would probably think it's good. Because I didn't like it as a kid. But when I was teaching, I know I've talked about this before, that on the days in the cooking class, when they cooked, the kids would have to take the food out and get it sampled by teachers, and we had to like rate it. And that was always like the first thing that they made was Orange Julius, because it was like showing them just the measuring and using the equipment like the blender and the cleanup and stuff. So it was a really good intro, and they were so good.
Hit the scope.
I don't know if they still exist.
The restaurant Orange Julius?
Yeah.
I think you find them in food courts a lot.
Yeah, that's yes.
I know
I'm
that
just
there
wondering
was
if they
one.
still exist in food courts.
They do, at least in Washington.
Well, that doesn't help me, Jordan, because I live here.
Oh, I didn't realize you wanted to actually go there and partake. I wasn't sure if that was a.
I don't look on my map for things if I don't want to know if it's still there.
Alright.
Yeah, they're all over. Still in malls.
Bunch of orcs and Gretchens that looted the mall for supplies. The Imperium stashed there and went from a silly dual concept to an entire wild thing. Nice.
I apologize, Jen. I have since put my foot in my mouth.
We're fine. Figure out where this one is located. What is that inside?
Dairy Queen owns Orange Julius.
It did when I searched on the map. It came up Orange Julius / Dairy Queen.
Oh.
And there is one in a Dairy Queen on 59th Avenue in Indian School. 52nd Avenue in Indian School.
So not exactly a thriving business. Because there's a Dairy Queen down on Thomas.
Walmart. Is it inside the Walmart too? It's in a Walmart.
Well, you can still get it, Jen.
Yeah.
There's Orange Julius in your future.
She won't even drive to Chino Bandito.
You never know. Orange Julius might be...
Is Orange Julius the trigger that sends her on the run?
Not if I have to go into a Walmart to get it.
I was going to say, I feel like there's either something I've missed about Jen in the last 9 years of our life together, because I felt like she said it was in Walmart. One time, Jen, when I was coming back from game night, I asked her if she needed anything, and I think she said she wanted like a pair of green flip-flops or something like that.
Because I always used to say, no, I don't need anything. Just come home. And then one night I just decided to give him something
arbitrary.
To do. Yeah. And I said,
I need green flip-flops.
I said green flip-flops.
And that's the last time I went to Walmart. That's actually not the last time. We had to go get a kiddie pool for the dog. Is the last time I went to Walmart. But the only other time before that, which may be the only time I've been to a Walmart in Arizona, was, I went to that exact same Walmart to buy a tape measure once for game night because I either had lost or forgotten my tape measure.
Yeah.
Or no, it broke. So I went to that Walmart. So I've been to Walmart 3 times since I've lived in Arizona.
I have gone once in between. Well, I didn't go with you, obviously, to get the green flip-flops or the tape measure. We went to the one for the kiddie pool, and then I had to go to that same one.
On Thomas?
Yeah.
Whew.
With
it's a rough one.
William. Because he was like, he would not stop bugging me. He was like, can't we just go to Walmart? Can we go to Walmart? Because he was like, I don't...
What is it with people in Walmart?
Maybe it was when Carter was out of town.
Yeah, it was.
And he was staying with us.
Yeah, because it was getting prepped for school.
Yeah. And yes, because I did ask Carter, I'm like, does he have any more money that he can buy like stuff for himself? And he said, yeah, a little bit. So we went to Walmart because he would not leave me alone. He's like, can we go to a park? I'm like, you don't want to go to a park in this neighborhood. He's like, well, can we go to do this? I'm like, no, we're going to just stay right here. He's like, can we go to Walmart? No, definitely not Walmart. But can we go to Walmart though? Or a park? Like, no.
I can't do one. Can I do the other?
And then I finally was like, all right, fine.
We're going to Walmart.
Like, don't you like Target better? No, Walmart. Walmart's better. Oh, it's really not better.
It's really not. It really is not better. Appreciate the thought, but not a superior store that can be shopped at.
Well, in that particular location is one of the locations that you really don't want to
be in a Walmart.
Yeah, you don't want to hang out there.
Which Walmart was this?
Thomas and 32nd Street.
He's 13, and this was when he was 12.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this is the one that I went to on the first night that I was here. Was the Walmart, and it was really sketchy.
It
on
was,
Thomas by the Home Depot.
Yeah,
yeah, it's
by
a
the
little
Home
sketch.
Depot, yeah.
It's pretty sketch.
I remember going there, and I was with Hayden, and he was like,
He's like, where am I bringing you?
Yeah, he was like, are you sure you're going to be okay here? And I was like, I think so.
Are you okay if I leave you here?
Yeah. He's like, this is a little bit more seedy than I was expecting. I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you.
If you go to a Walmart in an upscale area, they're not as bad. If I could go to North Scottsdale and go to Walmart, it would feel less Walmarty.
Yeah.
Still Walmarty, but less so.
You'd get a lot of the same.
I just don't like Walmart.
I don't either.
I don't care where it's located. I do not like mega stores. I don't like going in them. I don't like dealing with people there. I'm not a mega place guy. So the whole age of the mega anything, mega parks,
Mega malls.
it's all lost on me. Not a fan.
Never really been a big mall person either.
Jason and I have gone to the mall together maybe twice in the entire time we've known each other.
and I bet you guys specifically had something that you were there for.
Well, that surprises me. I can't even remember doing once.
Well, we had to go to, we went to Scottsdale Fashion Square for sure, because we went to that one store, what is it called? The one with all the, like, bath and body products.
Oh, where I used to get my deodorant.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hated that I had to get my deodorant in a freaking
thing. I can't remember what it's called.
The only place that I could get my deodorant was in like a mall.
What is that store called?
No idea. I don't do that anymore.
I don't do that anymore.
No, I hated it so much I wouldn't go there anymore.
Oh, really?
Change deodorant.
Jordan,
Oh, well.
Omicron Samurai wants to know how your Horus Heresy event went.
Fantastic. Well, it was a lot of fun. I would not say I performed admirably well. But it was my first time really playing the game, so I'm not gonna, like, be too upset with myself in that situation.
He rope-a-doped and got the best prizes. That's what I'm going to state.
I rope-a-doped and got the best prizes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Lush is the store.
Lush, that's
Yeah.
right. Lush. They had an amazing all-natural
great stuff there.
deodorant that was really good. How I found out about it, I don't even remember. Googling amazing all-natural deodorant doesn't sound like my thing, but...
No, it does not.
Awkwardish Panda, I am of that generation as well. I spent a lot of time at the mall. In fact, the mall of my youth was just torn down. It was devastating.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Where was this?
Mesa. Fiesta Mall over on Elm
Oh,
School.
Fiesta Mall.
Yep.
How the heck does
T.
this
Schmidt said,
backpacks go on?
I absolutely can't imagine Fuse in a place called Lush.
That is accurate. I don't think I could either.
So everything you think about me, now put it into just on a Saturday, right?
Going to a mall
Going to the mall, walking in solo
to buy body products,
to buy like
fancy soaps
fancy soaps
and lotions.
at a place in the mall.
They're known for like their bath bombs.
It's like the
smells-
place where I walk in and I'm
It
like, I
smells
can't
really
be
good.
here long because of this smell.
No, it smells really good though.
It smells really
It
good
smells
though.
super clean and fresh, and like everything's natural. Like all the ingredients are natural and stuff like that. So
But it's like walking into like a candle factory. It's just too much.
it doesn't.
I'm
smell
like,
that
can
much.
I get the thing I need and get the H out of Dodge?
I hope you at least sashayed into the store with style.
Well, that's a given.
I mean, this is me we're talking about.
Yeah, I was about to say there's no option for that to have happened in any other way. This model does not go together very well.
Oh yeah, you're from that part of town too. The same high school.
Is this Omicron?
Yeah.
Ermacron.
Ermacron.
Ermacron Snimmery. Somebody said that earlier, and now it sticks. It's Ermacron.
Omicron, did you ever go there and buy concert tickets at the Dillard's box office?
Oh my God.
Xenobond, are you local too? You're from Mesa? Did I know this? Omicron was, did Dobson have open campus when you were there? Probably not. I feel like they closed it just a year or two after me. But we would go to Oh, the warehouse. Okay. I would sometimes go to Fiesta Mall for lunch. To the food court.
To the food court.
It was open for you. Oh, okay. So did you go to the mall for lunch? We had a rotation. McDonald's. The Taco Bell that was right there. Nello's. Anytime but Monday. Yeah, DQ.
All right.
Blazing a little bit of the Payne's Gray with the white blue mix back onto some of these steel parts. The mix is very random on how I'm doing it.
I don't think we ever went to the grocery store for lunch. I didn't think about that. The deli. Xenobon, where'd you
Rip the grocery store deli, according to Jordan.
Where'd you go to high school?
Grocery store deli?
You said they're closing it.
Oh yeah. Well, they're not closing the deli. They're closing the sandwich making portion of the Safeway deli.
I've got a pile of Payne's Gray and white blue, and I'll just mix more or less of one color in over the other so that I can come back and either brighten an area like what I'm doing right now, just kind of right at that bright spot.
Oh my gosh, we used to get that pizza at when I would stay at my friend's house. And the Barrows, also on Alma School in Guadalupe. We would go there after the dances. Awkwardish Panda just went to look. The mall growing up has not been torn down, surprisingly. It's now a huge community center with an apartment complex attached. So, like, the meme is that they need to take all of the shopping malls and turn them into retirement communities for Gen Xers, because we're going to need them very soon, and we'll feel comfortable there. And I think that's a fantastic idea.
A little taste of high school.
But they fully tore that mall down. In fact, my friend drove by it not too long ago. When was that? October 19th, she drove by and it was just she took a picture, it was a big pile of rubble.
Oh, geez. G-O-N.
Yeah.
It is no more. It is gone forever.
I want to retire away from people, but near a hospital. Yeah, Metro Center, they're redeveloping for sure. PB Mall, I think, was completely torn down. Avian, what are you disturbed about? What did I do?
Time to outline a whole bunch of trim in full black.
Why is that disturbing? It's a genius idea. We know our way around the mall.
Hey, whoa.
Because we grew up there.
Whoa, don't give us credit we don't deserve here.
I mean, no, we just turned into like a big apartment complex for retired people. With like activities and stuff. That's what retired people do. That's what they need. Has a food court, exactly.
Chances are we'd already be like scooting around the mall in the morning anyway, get our steps in.
That's what, yes, Awkwardish Panda said they literally left a track in for mall walkers. And it's perfect. We could all get our exercise. Well, but you guys are missing my point. It's not going to be a mall anymore. It's just the building is being used for that. We're turning it into apartments. And also, Clarkatron. Well, sure, the food court, yes, of course it could have the food court. And then you build the apartments around it where the stores were. This is not a difficult concept.
Gosh darn it, Jen.
And the particular mall that I'm talking about is only like a mile away from a hospital. So it's perfect.
Even better.
It's just like a huge missed opportunity as far as I'm concerned.
The mall is the place I least want to go to. You and me both.
Again, it's not going to be a mall.
But now they're going to shove us there
resort.
when they don't want to deal with us anymore, is what Jen's saying.
What?
Jen's saying that when she gets tired of me and she doesn't want to deal with me anymore, she's sending me to the mall. That's really what this is saying.
When did I say that?
Oh, no.
I'm planning on going there.
Yeah, I was about to say, Jen, it sounds like Jen is scouting out
idea. I'm excited about it.
a long-term option.
Anybody. I'm looking forward to having a cool place to hang out with my retired friends.
But if the stores aren't there, is the mall really the mall?
It's still the mall, yes.
Okay.
You just live there instead of shopping there.
Shit, get in the car, Jason. We're going to the mall. That's when I know I'm done. Life's either about to get much better or much worse. I'm not really sure, but by that point, I probably would just be smiling and drooling and going along with it. Yes, dear?
Yeah, you could live in the sunglass hut.
Like, is your apartment themed to the store it replaced?
That's up
yes.
to you.
100%.
That's up to you and how you decorate. There are no rules on that.
You just want to live in an old Nike.
Yeah, or like the Spencer's gifts.
Yeah.
Avian says, I guess I need to look at properties in Wisconsin. I'm that guy, a cabin in the woods. Been there, done that.
Is Wisconsin the only place to get a cabin in the woods?
No.
I didn't think so.
No. Definitely not.
You can do that in a lot of places.
Wisconsin's a place to get a cabin in the woods if you're really faking it and you really want to be close to the big city. Because I feel like all of Wisconsin is like right next door to Chicago.
Yeah.
So, if you want a cabin in the woods, you go to Alaska.
Montana.
Yep, Big Sky is also good.
Wyoming.
Wyoming also good.
You're looking to get away from people?
Those are your best spots.
Yeah. Wyoming, Alaska.
There's parts of Seattle where you can
massive
do it.
land
Washington.
masses with few people.
If you're out in the peninsula in Seattle, that's a pretty good one too.
Nah, it's still too close.
Is it? I mean, it's pretty far from most like metropolitan areas.
Still too close.
How far away do we need to be drive wise?
500 miles minimum.
Okay, that's not good enough. As in, Seattle's not good enough.
Oh, so, okay. So you don't want to see people or bears.
Well,
Okay.
So now we have this weird problem
Living in the woods might
surfacing.
Be difficult.
Yeah, living in the woods might not be what you're really going for now.
you could probably go
I
to
like
the moon.
the idea of it, but there are bears there. Megalodon said, my wife wants us to retire on a lake house with enough property to have no neighbors within sight. Me, I just want a good game room and painting area. I don't think they have polar bears in Alaska, do they?
Polar bears?
They have black bears there for sure.
Pretty sure they have polar bears in Alaska.
What?
Grizzly bears also no.
I mean, not that I want to be anywhere near a polar bear, for the record.
Grizzly bears, I feel like they definitely have those in Wisconsin.
Isn't that a big California thing?
Brown bears.
Is that brown bears?
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally on their flag.
I thought that was a grizzly bear, to be fair.
James DeLay said, when I was little in Wisconsin, Chicago seemed so far away, but I also didn't realize our house was about 4 blocks from the highway to Illinois. You were close. It was probably what, only like an hour? Wisconsin also very close to the Twin Cities, because I had a job in Wisconsin and I flew to the Minneapolis airport was closer than Milwaukee or whatever.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Model has some crazy trim. My goodness gracious.
Gentlemen, what's going on? Awkward
Good
as you live in
day.
northern Illinois, and yeah, it's wild that the state line is literally right there. Well, like the people that come to Adepticon from Wisconsin, some of them drive each day. They
I
said,
would just drive to and from?
yeah,
Wow.
they commute. That seems like a long way, but
Yes.
what do I know?
It does to me, at least.
I don't need to see real bears. Yeah, I feel like the whole living in the country thing might not be for you. if the whole animal thing is off the table, then maybe. I saw this thing. Here's the deal. I saw this thing. Now you can live in the mall again. So there's this thing that they have these big Windows-sized LCD displays now, or they're OLED displays, and they can put them, they frame them to fit standard window sizes. So like when Anderson Windows calls and says, hey, you need the windows replaced in your house, you can be like, nope, I got this. And they make standardized window frame replacements that just plug in to your wall. They go in the wall in the window casement, but it's an OLED screen so that you can never see out your window again. It just broadcasts whatever you want, like a big fish tank.
Oh,
Or like the countryside.
nice.
So you could be in the woods, right? But be in your 48th floor high-rise condo in New York.
Uh-huh.
You could be in the woods, as opposed to looking out at your naked neighbors from 3 feet away across the alley or whatever, right?
That seems like not what I want to be doing in the morning.
And then you could get one of those never-ending loop players that just play the sounds of the forest.
Yeah.
And find a way to hide a fan over there that blows air in, you know?
But have it have like a little bit of a scented thing so you can get the
Like bear poop.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a bear poop
Forest
scent
and
that comes
bear
in every
poop.
now and then.
Yeah.
It's like every 4 hours it spritzes little bear poops, you know?
Maybe
Or
it's
like
a-
the deer urine that you hunt with.
Yeah.
It just spritz a little deer urine.
Yeah, Avian said, animals are fine. I'm just not a fan of bears that will eat me. Well, what about like the elk and the bison and the moose?
The
Wildcats.
Mises.
The Mises.
What's up with the Mises?
Because they'll attack you just like a bear will. Elk are fine. Well, all right. I will sit back and watch that.
If they kill you but don't eat you, where does that land? What if they
Yeah,
hunt for
because that's the
sport?
thing too, is that the
Or
bears,
catch and
the
release?
bears might just rip you apart.
If I ever meet a bear or mountain lion, I'm hoping it's a catch and release bear or a catch and release mountain lion.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
They can like scrape you really bad, but then they just like, toss you back in.
Poor
Yeah, they don't know what to do.
Toss you back in.
Here you go. Enjoy the rest of your life.
Or they come up and you hear one of them say to the other one, "Hey Frank, we're out of tags. We just booked our last tag. We got to let this one go, or we got to talk to the Rangers."
Oh my gosh. The Bear Rangers.
Avian says, "I've dealt with moose, deer, whatever. As you give them space, you're okay."
All right, so it's just the bears. Just the bears. Bears are out to get you.
Megalodon, what's going on? Knowing me, I would turn the TV
what's
around
up?
in the window and put videos of weird crap so it would annoy your neighbors. I'm not going to say that was the first thought I had, but that might have been the first thought I had.
Well, have you seen that sphere in Vegas? It's got stuff on both sides.
The what?
The sphere in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So inside you feel like you're immersed, but outside has stuff on it as well.
Yeah, like a big smiley face.
Sometimes.
That the jet see from the space station
sometimes.
saw it.
Oh my gosh.
They just take a photo of them with your limp body. This was him before we threw him back. Time for some dark neutral gray.
Dark neutral gray. What are you working on over there?
Huh?
What are you working on over there?
A pile of bodies?
Well, like what part of the pile of bodies you working on?
The parts part?
The parts part?
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem with this model is that I am literally just like randomly looking at things and going, I'll paint that now.
Lendar, is that Lendar? Lendar Moonbase, thank you for the follow.
Much appreciated. Hope you are doing well. Welcome to our little hidey hole where we paint dead bodies. Wait.
Like the expression on the face of the guy that's just the head.
I did his eye rolled up into his head.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Felt like that was the right deal for him. Because his eyes were the ones that were the hardest to pull off looking like maybe they were closed. Because they were definitely sculpted open. So I'm hoping that's what the sculptor wanted.
Yeah, painting eyes over eyes that are meant to be closed or open is like the biggest pain in the butt.
Yeah, never easy.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of weird shapes to work with.
Well, in the way the musculature pulls at the lid when it's closed,
Yep.
creates a much different socket shape or eye shape than an open eye. So it's hard to pull off. You can tell if you don't resculpt it.
If the model is small, you can kind of get away with it.
The only time it's an issue is when you're driving along and ask, why are there trees in the middle of the road? What? You're talking about moose again?
Moose.
That's kind of the feeling moose give.
Question for Baby J from Avian. Why Imperial Fists? So people can play at the office?
No, this is a piece that Kyle is going to use as a character for his next campaign event. So it's going to be like a character that you can have drop into your game randomly, and will like fight for your side or your opponent's side. And he wanted me to paint it up, so I'm painting it up. Although I might switch over to the other yellow guy, because I said I was going to do half and half today. But I might finish doing all the trim on the black first, and then switch over. Get a nice solid base coat on all the rest of that stuff. And then I'll switch over to doing gold.
Dr. Schmidt, thank you for following.
Dr. Schmidt. Any relation to T. Schmidt?
Totally different spelling.
Oh. Oh,
T.
yes.
Schmidt. T. Schmidt is T. Schmid. The D.
Oh, it is T. Schmidt, isn't it? Well, look at me making the mistakes. Whoopsies. Sorry, folks. Typical Baby J things.
Too quiet.
Too quiet?
Too quiet.
Why is it too quiet? Jen, how was your weekend?
It was fine. Nothing exciting.
Yeah.
I came here on Saturday and cleaned my office and organized it a little bit.
Ooh.
And that's
That
about it.
weirdly sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was fun.
Sounds like fun to me.
I will keep that in mind next time I need to clean my office.
I was going to say.
Hold on. It's fun because it would be my own office that I would be
Oh,
cleaning.
well,
You can do that too.
I mean, you can clean your office anytime you want.
True. Well, I can't do it on the weekends. I do not have access.
The non-existent T in my name is like the cheeser in Punisher. Yeah, I'm sure people want to say Schmidt, just like we wanted to say Speed Chaser.
Schmidt just gets a T. We give him that little bit extra because we love him so much.
Yep. Thanks, Jason. Thanks for supporting my
That's true.
little mistakes.
It's just in the front. The T is just T just comes first instead of last.
It belongs there. It just is in a different spot than it usually is.
Prioritize your T.
We'll see you in a minute, Pete.
Ooh, got a meeting.
Huh?
Oh, no. Megalodon Jaws got to step away for a meeting. All this.
Did anyone do any fun Halloween stuff over the weekend, or is that like I never know
I'm super
if
lame.
people do it over the weekend before or on the actual day?
I think a lot of parents that I've talked to were doing stuff on Friday night.
Friday?
Yeah.
Dumb.
Well, it's like the weekend before the day, and it's a school night on actual Halloween. Makes sense to me.
Dude, it's not Halloween, then you don't get to dress up. You're just another kooky clown.
Well, there'd be lots of kooky clowns around.
I don't understand why Halloween has to be on October 31st.
That's All Hallows Eve.
But we should have an observed holiday.
I'm surprised that there is no like observed
Like, it
holiday
needs to
for
be on a
it.
weekend.
But then again, we don't like get the day off for it.
No,
So-
that's true. It's not an official holiday, but yeah,
Yeah.
it should be the last Saturday of October. I agree with you, Super Bleeder. Mainly for schools. Schools don't want to have anything to do with Halloween.
No,
Nightmare.
really. How so? I'm very curious.
A bajillion kids in costumes and you
Well,
can't figure it out. Candy.
So day one is like the actual day of Halloween is the costumes, and that's just, I mean, you're not getting anything done when you got a room full of kids dressed up.
That makes sense.
Now, my school, I taught middle school for the majority of my teaching career,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids were not allowed to dress up.
Oh,
Did they?
yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes,
100%.
they absolutely dressed up. So then there was that. Okay, do we have to dress code them? Do we have to send them to the office? What do we have to do? And they dress up. Way more of a hassle than I needed to deal with in the 49 minutes I had with them every day.
Yeah, that's fair.
Then you have the next day, post Halloween, where they all have their Halloween hangover and a backpack full of candy. No, I understand. I didn't say it properly. I understand why Halloween is October 31st. I don't understand why we don't have it as an observed holiday on a weekend.
So that teachers don't have to deal with it, and so that parents
too.
have a
Parents
good,
have them that now they have a whole Saturday to get the kids ready for their trick or treating.
and then they have a Sunday.
Yep. Then they have Sunday to recover, sleep in if they stayed up too late, telling ghost stories.
Yep.
Ready back to normal schedule on Monday.
It is wise.
Just dumb.
Will not
Well,
discount
Why
this
are you
truth.
an idiot? How? What makes you an idiot? Nothing in this interaction that requires you to say that.
What's that?
Fabian just said, "Sorry, Jen, I am an idiot, and I don't understand what that means."
Like, you don't understand the whole conversation? Or was there something in particular?
Yeah, because All Hallows Eve was the night before All Saints.
Yep.
So that's why it's the 31st. And I'm of the tribe that is fine with that.
If
Stop appropriating holidays for convenience.
for what?
Convenience. I'm also of the
saying in
mindset
this-
that I don't know
in this
that-
case,
that-
let's appropriate it for convenience.
Huh? What's that?
I said in this situation, I think that we should appropriate it for convenience.
Jesus.
Jen has cast her die.
It's a dumb holiday anyway, so.
It is a dumb holiday, by the way. Like, I'm not a fan of Halloween.
I've never been a fan of Halloween.
Even as a kid.
I hated it as a kid.
Really?
Hated it. I was way too shy. I didn't want to have to go and
Oh,
knock
that
on
makes
some stranger's
sense.
house, some stranger's door, and ask them for candy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Torture.
Just got to dress up as something completely, totally unrecognizable, so that nobody knows who you are.
Awkward is just one of your two favorite days of the year? For the dress up part or the candy part part or the horror movie part? What part?
And what's the second one?
Well, that's another good question. What is the second one? I did watch the better part of the second season of Wheel of Time.
Oh, is it out? I think I saw that it was out.
Yeah, it's been airing for the last couple of weeks, and I think it is completely done now.
They've only been releasing parts of it at a time.
Yeah, they do it like episodic.
It's Amazon, right?
Yeah. But it was actually really good so far. They're doing some things out of order, but it all seems pretty fine to me. As long as you're not too beholden to everything happening in the correct order, then it's fine. Doesn't ruin the story in any way. Just changes where things happen, where people meet who. As long as they get to the places where they need to be for the relevant parts of the story, I'm fine. It seems like that is happening.
It's a weird contradiction. Clarktron said we just finished season 2 of The Bear. What a delightful but stressful show.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think it's the second to last episode is the one that I was talking about. Oh my goodness.
I can't watch it.
Yeah. We've watched, how many did we watch? 3?
3 or 4.
3 or 4 episodes? That's as far as I've gotten. I just haven't had time to watch more. I'll continue to watch it. I liked it.
It's good, Jen. You will like it. But it is intense. Holy cow. Yeah, the Christmas episode. Holy cow.
Halloween's the biggest party of the year for my neighborhood. Everyone gets involved and gets along, Aquadish Panda
Nice.
said. We don't know yet. This will be our first holiday in our new neighborhood.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought that it would be more. I thought more houses would be decorated. There aren't that many that are decorated. So that kind of gives me a little bit of hope that I'm not going to feel like too much pressure to participate in all that stuff.
Clarkatron, if you don't like the Christmas episode, I would not recommend watching the show Succession, because that whole show is like that. Dysfunctional families in TV shows make me uncomfortable.
Well, so yeah, and I can
Release
understand
there?
that. But Succession doesn't jam unnecessary stress and yelling
Oh yeah,
at you.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's good. The show is
Did
good,
we watch?
but it's
chef-
really
Succession?
intense for me.
The bear is just unnecessary.
Did we try to watch Succession?
Yeah. I don't think you liked it so much.
No, I think I did. I think it was one that we just forgot about
Oh, maybe so.
because I don't.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember it.
You guys don't watch a lot of TV though. Well, at least TV shows like that. You watch plenty of The Bachelor.
I watch all the shows. Plenty. I do all the TV watching in our house.
Yeah.
Woo! Thank you for the sub, Omicron.
Return.
Omicron. 4 months. We're getting there.
Thank you, Omicron. Glad to have you.
Well, huzzah, huzzah! I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Pollute them.
Yeah, Clark's the delightful and stressful is the part that I'm having a hard time understanding.
What's that?
Saying it's delightful but stressful.
Oh,
And then he said it again. It's delightful but stressful. I
Yeah.
don't find anything stressful to be delightful. I don't think I could say that something that made me feel very stressed would also make me feel delighted. But I don't know. I would have
If
to.
he's referring to the Christmas episode, I think he's just wrong. There's no part of that episode that was delightful. And I think the episode that is right after it, oh, so good.
I was amped about it because after the, seeing who was in it and all that, I felt like yeah, okay. Meaningful characters too. Seemed like it had a story I was interested in figuring out where it was going. But then it was like just yelling for yelling's sake. And it became tedious. Takes away from the story when people are just yelling at each other all the time for no reason.
Trying to remember what Christine said, because she's like, oh, I think Jason would really like it. It's a great show. I think Jason would really like it. I'm like, well, what do you like about it? What makes it so good? And I can't remember what she said, but I feel like it was something about the characters being developed or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the characters, and I could see from the story framework that I'd like to see where it goes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Just
the character growth for me, I think, is the big one.
the way they put it together is just too much.
Is it yelling? Is it for yelling's sake, or is that how restaurants are? I feel like maybe that's how restaurants are. But here's the thing, though, that restaurants might be that way. They're very high pressure environments for people, and strong personalities. But when I go to a restaurant, I don't know that.
Yeah, that's the fake Gordon Ramsay version of restaurants that
Yeah.
we're getting pitched these days. And maybe there are people emulating it now and want it to be the thing, but that's all done for ratings and views, right? Over the top, stressful stuff. I'm trying to think of what else was like that I was watching. That
Game Delay said they should be nicer to each other, like on the Monument Hobbies stream. Then their fights would be about important stuff, like tartar sauce.
tartar sauce, exactly.
Yes.
You get it.
Mm-hmm.
This guy gets it.
The most important conversation we've ever had, tartar sauce.
Schmidt said, does anyone else get stressed or exhausted from certain types of painting? Working on red non-metallic for an Iron Man for several hours and I'm so tired, versus completely finishing a Captain Marvel in an hour and a half, no problem.
I don't know if there are particular projects that make me more or less tired. Maybe. I think the big crazy detailed non-metallic stuff can be a little draining, more so than like something that's a little bit more simple.
But also, I mean, you've said it right there, T. Schmid, that you've been working on not just on the non-metallic for several hours versus completely finishing an entire model in an hour and a half. So, yeah, different tasks.
Yeah.
And that non-metallic,
different
trying to
results,
get it
too.
so precise to to read as metal or whatever, reflective, whatever. But
For
I
me,
can
it's usually
definitely see
subject
that.
matter, right? If there's a model in front of me that, even though I may love painting a particular part of, if overall it isn't doing it for me, then I get fatigued quickly with it,
Plus, there's probably, I would think that could happen when there's a lot of redundancy, like if you're...
That's usually it. When you
Yeah.
get to the stupid little bits and bobs and they're just too much, it can make me not like a model as much towards the end. I got the new Warcry Warband box, right, with the ogres and the hunters.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
so I'm gonna paint those up. I don't know if I'll be able to do all the hunters. I just like those. The reason that got me to pre-order the whole thing instead of waiting for just the ogres was because the hunters have dogs. They have like 4 like bulldog, pit bull looking dogs that look like they'd be fun to paint. Unfortunately, there's not one of them that's in a pose that I could pull off as Korra, I don't think, but we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot.
Slavic said, hello, Monument team. How are you guys doing today? I finally used my Pro Acryl paints for the first time, and I'm fairly happy with how it went.
Awesome.
Just fairly? Why are you not elated?
That is good news. Hopefully we can continue to show you amazing things with the paints.
Definitely need a different palette and a couple videos on thinning / using the paints. Well, we've got
We do it every day.
loads of
We do.
You're seeing us do it right now.
Loads of videos on tube.
And if you have questions, please feel free to ask. We are
yeah, especially about your
so
palette.
happy.
What are you finding with your palette?
Before I even hear him respond, I'm going to say something. I'm going to make a World of Hobby political comment. I feel like in today's age with so much information available, it's a great time to become a hobbyist and to start using things or to start using new products and things like that. But I will say that if you watch any video of any top YouTuber using their wet palette, unless the video is specifically about using a wet palette, I would throw all the parts of them using their wet palette in the garbage. Almost to a person. Because they all do the same things. They all pool their paint in big pools, and then they rub it around on the wet palette and spread it out to get their colors mixed. Very fast and convenient for making a video. Horrible for painting. Keep your paint in tight drops and then pull away from the drops. Do all your thinning on the pull, not on the droplet.
Game Delay said, I finally looked up the cold palette that Dr. Faust created. Have you ever tried that? It's a tile.
Like a tile, yeah.
Over a towel over ice packs.
Again, I you know, you've seen me, if you've been here for long, you've seen me paint for years. You know, even this stream's been going on for 8 years. And you've never... See, we used a wet palette for a time so that we could show people how to use it. We went out, I got a Masterson wet palette. Those guys are local here in Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're right down the street, actually.
Oh, wow.
I got a Masterson's wet palette to show people how to use a wet palette. I can use a wet palette. A wet palette's great for certain paints and things like that, but in and of itself, it's not built for liquid acrylics. We've adopted it in this industry for some unknown reason. I wish I could go back in time. You know, the meme of women who go back in time and they would say, I'm your great-granddaughter, you know, and they'd bring the heirloom back and then they go in time, and then there's the Chad in the meme that's like, you know, going back in time or forward in time to talk about Warhammer or something stupid like that. I would go back in time to the time that somebody decided that liquid acrylic should go on wet palettes and smack that person with like a wet noodle, right? And be like, meh.
Hit him with a pool noodle.
Meh. They're great. They're made for paste paints, and believe it or not, they're made for two spectrums. They're made for solid paints and watercolors. And specifically on watercolor, the paste watercolors. Which is why you don't see them pervasively in the art world. They're just not used, right? You don't walk into a fine art store and find tons of different brands of wet palettes because nobody cares, right? Our industry has latched onto them, and now there's 50 different brands of wet palette for some reason, right? There's more wet palettes made in the world of miniature art than there are for the entire world of art. and it's because of some, what would we call it? Placebo, right? It's a placebo is a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And I've been painting for a lot of years, man. A lot of years with all sorts of paints. And the ability to keep a mix wet longer is great, right? So you can either mix more paint, and by virtue of volume, you can have your mixes stay wet longer, or you can use a wet palette and do all that. You just have to be careful because a wet palette is like an arcane, non-existent ability to lash science, and so it's very weird to try to control it. Once you get it to where it works great. Jordan uses his all the time.
Yep.
And uses it great, right? But just be careful.
I think the big thing that people say is like, oh, you can use your paint for multiple sessions and keep it wet. It's not good for that.
It's not what they're for, though.
Yeah.
Either. Slavic said, not currently using a wet palette. I use a cheap palette that's annoying. Bubbles. Mixing was impossible, although it was my first time. As far as thinning, I had a hard time controlling how much water to put on my brush, as Jason does on stream.
Yeah, so the big key when you paint, and this is of course a little bit of getting used to it, but like any task that's physical, you gotta dial it in, right? You can't just walk into the gym and start lifting weights, right? You have to have a proper strategy for lifting weights or you're going to hurt yourself, okay? When painting, you can't just dip your brush in the paint and expect to be a pro painter, even if you understand art and understand where you want the paint to go and all of that. You got to be able to control the consistency, and one of the reasons why we spend so much time making sure that Pro Acryl is consistent bottle to bottle is for exactly what I'm about to show you. I don't ever have to worry about what color I got. I'm just going to go over here. Do I even have a wet pile of paint anymore? I think I just used the last of my paint. Let's get a color that's easy to read as I do this. Let's get burnt orange. So grab some burnt orange and put it on this disaster of a palette I have going on over here.
Is that one mine? I put mine
No,
No.
I got yours out of the way
Okay.
because it did not have the colors in the right location.
Yeah, he didn't particularly care for yours
I
very
forgot.
much.
Even though it might take me 30 seconds to see where I put that color last and what was next to it, at least it's there.
I forgot I left
Yours
mine.
was like, I don't paint with these colors. Shock.
It was all purple and pink and green.
Yeah, that's
It
that.
looked really good when I got up here. I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh. Right. Okay, so first off, let's just start with this. This is a number 4 sample brush, and so it's pretty beat up. Who cares? But it's dry right now, right? It has a little bit of sheen to it because I just cleaned it, but it's pretty much dry. You're not going to see it put any moisture on my finger or whatever. This is like grabbing it out of your cup, right? And if I come over here and I get some paint, right, you're relying on the fluidity of the paint to make the brush stroke good, right? Now our paint's pretty fluid, so I'm going to get a pretty good stroke. But on my second stroke, it's going to start to break apart, right? And it's going to start to show brush strokes and things like that because there's not enough moisture on the brush, right? So then what I do is I come over here, right? And if you just dip your brush in water, just pure water, let's see if we can get the sheen. There you go. Now that's loaded with water, okay? So if I come over and I dip that in the tip of the blob of paint, just on the edge, don't dump a lot of water into your blob of paint, right? Then I got a lot of paint, right? Because now I've soaked up a ton of paint. See that? It's really wet because I didn't get rid of any of the water. I didn't dry it on a paper towel or anything. So now I have all this very, very wet paint that's very thin. So now when I paint with it, number one, I'm going to get a lot of material, right? So it's a lot of wetness, much more than what you saw over here with one brush stroke, right? It's also see-through because I've diluted the pigment instantaneously because of all the water in the brush. So the dilution happened on the brush rather than on the palette, which is the way you should be treating acrylic paints. Because if you dilute the droplet, right, which could be overloading your wet palette or mixing water directly into the droplet on your palette, unless that's the only way you intend to use that particular color, what you've done is you've just now made that paint less flexible for you to do whatever you need to do with as you're painting. Because as I'm painting, I will start with a color very thin, like this. Let's do the orange, right? I'll start with the orange very, very thin. Let's do like on the back of this guy, right? So I'll start with this color, very, very thin with the burnt orange, right? And I'll almost, it's a glaze. In this case, because I didn't wick any of the water off, it's almost like a wash, right? So I'll go over it real quick just to get the foundation of the color laid on the area. Boom. Right? So I've started changing it to the orange. Then I'll go back as long as my coverage is good, then I'll go back, get my brush wet again, right? But now I'll go like once, twice on the paper towel. So now I've taken a little bit of it off. I'll go touch the paint droplet in another area, not the area that I just diluted, right? Then I come over here and you'll see me take a bunch of the paint off on my finger a lot of the time. Then when I go back up here, now I should get more, well, my first coat was so wet, this isn't going to work real well. I'll go against the grain here and that'll give me paint, right? Now I get more coverage, right? So the first one just kind of set it up because in most cases I'd be going over a darker base and I'd want to blend that orange real quick. So on that dark base, the first very wet coat gives me the blend that I want between the dark color underneath it. Right, now the next one, I might dry the brush off 3 or 4 times, come back over here, you can see how it's going from super, super diluted, not quite as diluted, and now not much dilution at all. So that now when I come back over here, right, well, let's paint the shadows on this instead, since I'm doing over white. It's really got me messed up here. Right. Now I've been able to create the blend that I want across the entire surface by starting with a wetter color and then working to my undiluted color. And so you're always wanting the color on your palette. I say always, unless you're doing something specific. Most of the time you're wanting the color on your palette to be all consistencies. So you need it to be as opaque and undiluted as possible because you're going to use that at the end, right? Generally. You're not going to start with an undiluted paint in most cases. Even when you're base coating, I start with a diluted paint. Maybe not as crazy as this that I did with the orange, where you can barely see any orange over these other colors on my finger, right? Probably more like this, right? Where you can still see through it. But I'll put that on the base. Then I'll start moving to less dilution as I go. And the problem with a wet palette is it's not always letting you do that. It has a base dilution that it's going to keep you at if you're not careful. Now, once you get good at it and you get consistent, you find a wet palette you like, then you'll learn to migrate through that and leave enough of the droplet untouched, so to speak, so that you can still go to the base droplet all the time that you need to and get the opaque paint. The problem that I always say with our paints versus others is that a lot of paints start out too thick because that's how they suspend so much pigment in their suspension, right? So if it starts too thick, then you can't really ever use it in larger areas undiluted. It doesn't feel good. It feels like you're painting with snot, right? So a lot of paints, hobby paints in particular out there, even though they're liquid acrylics, are less liquid and more gel-like almost. And so you want to dilute them a bit to get them to the starting point for painting, right? To me, that's a waste. So we developed our paints to feel like the starting point as soon as you open the bottle. You don't have to dilute our paints to paint with them. You can put the droplet out on the dry palette, stick your little bit of dampness on your brush, but not much, stick it in the paint and paint with it and get consistent flow, great coverage, all of that. You don't have to thin it so that you can use it. You thin it to get the opacity you want, right? So if you want it full opacity, just use it straight out of the bottle. If you want to start getting it to be less opaque, so that you can do glazing with it, then you just start adding moisture that way. So don't think of moisture as a necessity. Think of it as a tool that gets the paint to do what you need it to do every time you touch the model. And so it's you who has to decide right now, when I paint that orange, do I want it less opaque because I want to let more of the white show through for the highlights, or do I want it more opaque so I can start putting it into the shadows, right?
But game delay, you'll always know that if it suddenly feels like you are painting with snot, that there's something wrong.
See, now this is the most opaque that I can get this orange, right? And so I would come down here, perhaps, and do this just at the tail end. So now I've been able to get this paint to work for me in 4 different ways. Same drop of paint, right? To give me a variance in consistency across the model that gets me my blend and gets something looking good in a very quick manner. Because that one drop of paint has a tremendous amount of utility so long as you can always start from the way it was in the bottle and work down in dilution, right?
But it's relatable. Everybody knows what that's like. Punisher said the whole cold palette thing seems like a weird gimmick just so he can say he came up with his own idea. Kind of like his misuse of base coat. Seems like it would be awful to actually use. Do you understand the concept behind it? I don't even understand.
It's just condensation. So,
it's
a tile being porcelain,
condensation.
right, and being a good insulator, you put ice underneath it with extreme cold. You're only putting a towel around it so that the ice itself doesn't
Melt and
exhibit that extreme cold to the tile, because it would frost over,
Oh,
right?
okay.
But instead of that, now you just get that cold and you get the condensation so that the top of the tile can be cold, and when the warmth of the liquid touches it, it maintains moisture a little bit better. It stalls the evaporation process a little bit. And in that cold temperature, your paint isn't going to necessarily polymerize the same way. It's not going to turn into that plastic skin as quickly. I always call it the queso conundrum. But not everybody. I remember in a worldwide forum, not everybody understands what I mean when I say queso. Queso dip, like cheese dip. So if you have liquidy cheese dip, and you leave it out for a little bit, even if it's not cold where you're at, and even if the cheese dip is still warm to eat, it starts to skin over, right?
That's the worst.
Because of that evaporation and that cooling. So you get that skin that you gotta like pull up, or you mix it back in. Right, because somebody was saying, hey, after a little while on my wet palette, my paints get a little chunky. And I'm like, well, it's like cheese dip. Because what happens is it starts curing because you've got it spread out. So let me show you again what I'm talking about. These are good tools to remember no matter what, right? So if you've got a pile of paint, a droplet of paint, right? So you put out a droplet of paint on your palette. You don't need much. Stop overdoing it, number one, right? So you put a droplet of paint out on your palette. If I can get it to focus. My field of focus isn't quite at my desktop, right? The thing that I see a lot of people do is they immediately take it and they take their wet brush or their thinner and they do this, right? And they think that's their usable pile of paint now. What have you done, class? Why is this not how you treat paint? Anybody? Game delay. That's when you know that it's working, that the metaphor is working, right? Increased surface area, Punisher. What you've done when you're talking about evaporation, evaporation occurs when anything meets air. So in the droplet form, right, same amount of paint, or roughly same amount of paint in that droplet as what we just spread, right? Pretty close? Same amount of paint. The difference is that now a larger percentage of the paint is in contact with air over here, which means it's drying immediately. Period. I don't care if it's on a wet palette or not. Wet palette does not stop evaporation. Okay? In a lot of cases, it can accelerate it. So you've now spread this area out. There's more air touching the surface of the paint, so that top skin of the paint is drying now. So unless you're agitating it all the time, it's going to dry, right? If you're sitting here stirring it all the time, right, just like when you're stirring for cooking, it'll keep it from sticking to the pot or the pan if you're moving it around. Same thing here. This will keep it from sticking and drying, but you obviously can't paint the model if you're having to do this, right? You got to stop stirring it eventually and go paint. And as soon as you do, now it's starting to dry. So as it dries, it builds a skin up, even if it's on a wet palette. And then when you go back to use it again and you go like this to mix it up, well, the top layer is now dried. And when you break that dried skin and you mix it in with the rest of your paint, you're creating chunks in your paint, okay? So those chunks, just like the skin on the melted cheese, when you stir it all back up, it doesn't become liquid again. It's just chunks of cheese inside your liquid cheese, okay? Same thing happens with paint. There's no way to reconstitute it. You're just introducing those chunks. So start with a droplet, right? Every time you want to paint, you just simply touch your brush to the edge of the droplet and pull it down here and do your mixing down here. You don't need a lot of paint on your brush, right? Hardly ever. Maybe if you're doing a big model and need big base coats. The droplet will get bigger. But let's say I want to thin for glazing. So I come back with a brush load full of water. Let's see if I can get the shine. There you go. Lots of water in that. Haven't dried it off. Still, just pull a tail out of that. And now I have all this thin orange down here, but I haven't let water intrude back into that droplet, right? It stays right there at the edge and pulls down. Now I can use this. Now I can glaze all day with that little puddle, okay? But now if I want to have fully opaque paint, I just simply come up here and grab from a different part of the paint droplet. Now I have that. Now I can come over here and I can paint an opaque line. My droplet still has all the utility it did when I started, but I can continue to thin, right? I can continue to pull a tail out here and mix down here. You know, yes, this is spread out like this and it's going to dry, but it's only a minuscule amount of paint. It's going to take the droplet a lot longer to dry. And what happens when you look at my palette is you'll notice something that, well, let's see how visible it is on the camera. Because I paint like this, what winds up happening is that there's usually like a, see the last one, there's usually like a little dry, like hump like this, right? Where I keep drawing paint out of the droplet. You see that droplet? See how it looks like a little mountain right there? This was the droplet, and I kept poking the brush in and pulling paint out, poking the brush in, pulling paint out. What happened is it dried into like this little cave mouth because I kept putting the paintbrush in and pulling it out, putting it in and pulling it out. And so I use up all the paint, and what's dry is a little skin of dried paint that I've tunneled into and gotten all of the meat out from underneath it, right? Here's another version of it right there. Right? Dry hump. Yes, it's a dry hump, in, out, in, out. You got the innuendo. My job here is done. Thank you, chat.
See you guys
This
tomorrow.
is why I couldn't be a teacher, by the way.
There's lots of reasons why you couldn't be a teacher. This is just the least of them.
I'm the best teacher. Parents just don't want me around their kids for some reason. That's their fault. Their loss, not mine. So anyway, this is how you will get the most out of your painting because, number one, you have the most flexible droplet of paint. No matter what paint you're using, start with it like this. Pull out into these deals. You'll see that by the end of my painting session, right, my paint is probably pulled out in lots of different ways, right? I've done all these different directions of paint, right, where I've thinned it in different ways, right? One of them may be that I have another color over here, and so I pull this leg out to mix with this color and get my mix in the middle. And then I pull from this one and pull from this one and get a mix in the middle. And still have my orange that I can go back to at full volume all the time I need. Even if you're using a wet palette, do it like this. Boop. Same thing.
So
Don't do this. You'll see a lot. I won't say every. You'll see a lot of very, very good artists do this. Most likely because they don't have to pay for paint. Okay?
So after your original response, Slavic said I was doing everything wrong. Would you normally put dry time between those layers?
Well, yeah, I mean, I did this super quick, but yeah, you usually need a minute or two. I put that first layer on him, on the orange, on very, very wet. I forgot to take anything off on my thumb so you could see that it put so much moisture on there that then you got to let that dry a long time, right? The introduction of more water and more liquid on the model, it will increase that dry time. If you do like I do and you use your thumb palette or paper towel and wipe off most of the moisture on the brush, then by the time you go over here, it dries very quickly. That's its own problem. You really need to build up a confidence with painting. As you wick more of your paint away off the brush, it dries faster on the model, which lets you paint faster, but it also can create edge, how do I want to put it? Almost like staining on the model. Because if you don't cover a whole area, like on this sleeve, if I would have just painted up to the fold and stopped and gone back to the palette and then come back, I would have wound up having a line that dries real quick. So if you're doing that, you want to paint like the whole surface real quick so that you get to a stopping point, like edge to edge. Like I would have gone all the way over to this edge and this edge. So I don't have to fight that.
There's more from that question. So it also saw something about Pro-Acryl and aerosol primers not mixing well. Is that a concern?
Our paints don't like satin finishes, right? And that is a truism, meaning that you don't... How to put this? Primers are meant to be matte, like super matte finish. Any primer that has even a little bit of shine is not a primer, it's a paint. 100%. If I were to prime a vehicle and have the finish that all of those hobby primers have when you spray them on a model, I would be fired and the paint would not adhere. So it's not model paint, it's paint in general, because the idea of a primer is to have tooth, right? And by tooth, what we mean is that it has at the kind of microscopic level when you're looking at it, it has a very jagged surface. It's rough, right? Not rough to the touch, although it is technically rougher than a satin or gloss paint.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Right? It feels dusty almost. It shouldn't look that way, but it just feels dry and dusty. You've probably seen like matte finish cars. That's kind of the rage right now, right? And they show like oily handprints on them and stuff.
I always want to go touch them.
Yeah, but you can touch it and it'll like leave your handprint on it. Because it's rough. It's a rough surface. That's how it's matte. The idea behind matte finish is that it's refracting light in every direction imaginable so that not a lot of light reaches back to your eye from any angle that you're looking at. Because you're looking at it from this angle, and if light's hitting from that same angle, when it hits, it's splashing and radiating out across the surface because those little teeth refract the light in weird ways. That's why it doesn't shine as much. As you get shinier, it means that the surface is becoming polished. If the surface is becoming polished and laying flat so that it reflects light and gives you shine back, paint can't adhere to it as well. Just a known fact, right? Now, a lot of paint manufacturers use a heavier polyurethane inside of all of their paints, so including their primer is basically just a paint, and then the paint that you're painting with is a heavier polyurethane paint, and so they'll adhere and you don't really ever have a problem. Our paint starts from an idea that the polyurethane is one of the biggest problems when dealing with colors and mixing, so we don't want to use that. So you need to start with a matte finish. So more of an answer than you were looking for, but yeah, you need to... Rattle can is fine so long as it is a true matte finish, right? Army Painter has some really good matte finish, although they just had to issue a recall on theirs.
Wait, really?
Yeah, and they're black, so they'll go the days. I've never seen a matte finish out of GW, and this is not snarking at them. This is just the truth.
Vallejos are matte.
What's that?
Vallejo has a line of primers that are matte.
Are they spray?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're rattle can.
They just brought rattle cans out like a few years ago, right?
Yeah, they're
I've never
relatively new.
used them, so I couldn't speak to those.
As far as rattle cans are concerned, they're better than Games Workshop.
Yeah. So, but with a rattle can, you'll know if you have the right one, if it really just knocks all the reflection out of it, right? You'll find, unfortunately, you'll go to the hobby store, you'll go to the Home Depot, you'll go everywhere, and you'll get rattle cans that say matte. They're not matte. They're satin. But they're made for not priming. They're made for people to paint things real quick to cover up the whatever it was for a base. and then they're not meant to actually be a primer, because generally if you're using a rattle can primer, you're probably rattle canning a color over the top of it, and they both take care of the job equally well. So that's the problem, right? I again, I would go back in time and hit the wet palette guy and hit the spray primer guy.
Avian wants permission to gush about our tutorials. He said, I thought, hey, let's not bother slow fuse about how to paint X. Let's see what you have out there. Did not find what I was looking for, but the tutorials on the store is exactly how I like to learn.
Awesome. The methodologies?
Methodologies are what I assume,
Nice.
yeah.
The methodologies are great. Jordan's been doing them now in a short video content method, as well as following up with them in the written ones. So
Yeah.
even better now. So because some people like to watch it happen, and you can do that now with the shorts.
Yeah, if it's a newer methodology, it also has a short to accompany it on our YouTube.
Clarkatron says, how important is it to use a respirator if I'm priming with an airbrush indoors? So, inhaling particulates of anything other than fresh air can be harmful to your lungs. So depending on how you are and what your relationship to air is, I would always suggest that having a respirator is probably the way to do that. Now, that's a do as I say, don't do as I do, because I've been priming without a respirator forever. But if I were to paint a car, because the particulates are heavier in enamels and lacquers, I would wear a respirator. Because in liquid acrylics, the particulates cannot exit the wetness and are heavier and usually don't float up in the air. Like, even after a long day of priming with the airbrush, the air in the room isn't, like, foggy, right? Like it would be with an aerosol, right? Because in an aerosol, those particulates can float. So, but I would always recommend you to wear proper safety equipment when operating any of these machines.
Slavic said, shoot, well, how do I remove Rust-Oleum rattle can primer from my armies of primed models?
You don't have to. Slavic, you don't have to remove it, the Rust-Oleum. Is it shiny?
Rust-Oleum generally is pretty matte.
Another big thing to remember is that generally if you paint a primed model within like a day, you shouldn't have problems. If you prime your armies and then go play with them and let them sit for a long time, one of the big issues you're going to have is they collect dust. That primer layer is almost tacky. Like it takes a long time to cure because of the urethanes in it. And regardless if you're using enamels or acrylics or whatever, the acrylics will become dry to the touch quicker, but it still takes a while to cure. And in that time, dust that's settling on it will wind up being part of the paint job now. And so that can cause issues. So if you prime your models and let them sit for a long time, I don't recommend that ever. I would rather you keep them gray plastic and then prime them when you're ready to paint them. When you're ready to put at least a base coat on them.
Also, dust them off before you prime them.
Definitely dust them off. Like even if you just like use canned air or something.
Yeah.
That is, Mo is accurate.
Mo is
what?
accurate?
Mo is accurate. He
Do
said
the booger test.
Booger test. When you're done, blow your nose. If it's rainbow, you should probably wear a mask. But that, that happens after you've already breathed all the stuff in. So just know that.
Game Delay says, after I prime my models black with airbrush, I can't even find them anymore. Is your room black? Am I missing something? I've had that problem of black primed models on a black shelf and not being able to find the model I was looking for.
That
Because they blend in.
is definitely a thing.
Matte primer it'll hide things from you.
It's 150.
And Panic Bomb, we're doing great. How are you?
Okay, 150.
I once accidentally got a can of satin finish Rust-Oleum.
Oops.
Yeah, the reality is they'll call them primers, but that's a word that's misused tremendously because they're not intending for them. You can get something that's called primer and paint all in one. That's really what everything that's satin or shiny is. It's just paint. If it's not dead matte, right? And you need to ask for dead matte is the way it's referred to in like the automotive industry is dead flat or dead matte. And if it's anything other than that, then it's not a primer, period.
Came here for the dry hump seminar. Walked away with great primer knowledge.
Well, I'm glad you got the marketing about the dry hump seminar. We were afraid that wasn't going to reach everybody.
Oh, wait, got there just fine.
We're left with a dry hump after poking in and out and in and out.
What?
I said that like just a minute ago. As the words were flowing readily from my mouth hole, I realized I might be starting a meme. This happens to me quite often in my life. It was educational. Game Delay didn't like the snot reference, but he'll get over it.
Yeah.
But he likes the dry hump reference.
He's an attorney. He's heard worse.
That maybe is true.
No, it's Thor's paws that is here for the dry hump.
Oh.
Not Game Delay.
Paint plus primer in one is just code for really sticky paint that covers well. Exactly. And it usually has to do with repainting your barbecue.
Yep.
Not for models. Although I've got to tell you, I've been out and traveling and needed a primer, and I've gone to the hardware store and just bought whatever black primer they had because it's a heavy polyurethane. I knew it was going to stick, and I fought it the whole way home. Like, sprayed it at the last time was at Warfare Weekend, and I bought a model at Warfare Weekend that I really wanted to sit because we had paint night all night with all the people at the show. We're sitting downstairs painting models. I was like, fun, let's do it. So I'm sitting down there.
Went to a couple years ago.
A few years ago.
Yeah.
It's been 4 years.
With Mitch.
2019.
Yeah.
So in 2019, and sitting downstairs painting models, and had to borrow somebody's primer, whatever, and it was cold outside, and I sprayed it in the cold. Not supposed to do that. Sprayed it in the cold outside, windy, and brought it back in. Enamel, heavy lacquer, whatever it was, primer like you buy at the hardware store. Came back in, let it dry, started painting, and had to fight it. Because the surface was slick and weirdly, I call it waxy, because that's what happens with those paints. And it's kind of a waxy surface. So anytime you put anything with water on it, which amazingly, water-based acrylics have water in them, it starts to look like oil on water. So you just have to do a thin, dry coat. And what I mean by a thin, dry coat, right, is it, just like I said before, you get your brush loaded with water, right? And then you go over and you get some of that paint that I had on this other palette. Right? You get some of this paint that you pull down into a tail, and then you make sure that you wipe most of it off, and then you go paint on the model with that. And it's going to take 2 or 3 coats because it's not very opaque, but it's going to adhere. But if you take on the top of a waxy, rattle can surface, if you take a brush load of paint and you just try to paint like normal, that's all going to pill up. It's going to have that oil and water effect. I don't care whose paint you use.
But the thin, like the really thin coats that you were just showing, is that it'll stick because it's mostly water and it's breaking
It's acrylic,
apart?
and so it'll bond to the surface regardless. You can paint acrylic on glass.
You do a bunch of those thin, super thin coats, and eventually you're kind of like making it. Primed,
the
right?
proof is in the pudding. I paint on glass. This is a slick glass surface, but this paint ain't coming off. No primer on it, right? It'll stick. The acrylic will stick to anything. It doesn't have an adhesion problem. It has you're putting too much paint on a bad waxy surface problem. The first thin coat will stick, and now you have an actual tooth to paint over.
That's what it is.
The first layer of paint is becoming the primer.
Yep,
because it's thin, and because our paints are ultra matte. Our paints are dead matte. Mm-hmm. So, use one of our matte ones and not one of our semi-gloss or satins or our gloss finishes. But if you use our matte paint over the top of it, perfect. People that have had that problem in the past, I've said, give it a shot with coal black, very thin, if you have an airbrush, and you'll be fine. Perfect and good to go. Or titanium white if you primed white, whatever it is. Game Delay says, I didn't comment on dry humping. I'm willing to let some things pass without comment. I'm definitely not having any kind of private or personal feelings related to the conversation. Game Delay, you know why I love you? It's because you let your feelings be known. I feel like you and I could have a very honest relationship.
Opposed to...
You've done that in the garage in winter when I had no patience. I need this prime now. I mean, I have finished motorcycles in the dead of winter and needed to paint the tank and the fenders and all the sheet metal and been like, you know what? Screw it. I put a space heater in the room and I knew it wasn't above like 52. And I'm like, painting anyway. Ain't nobody got time to wait. I've always regretted it because the paint never stuck very well over time. It was the kind of paint that as soon as it got a little road chip, it turned into like half the paint job coming off later on. But it got painted on time. Instant gratification is a real bitch. Not gonna lie.
It's true.
It really is. It's nice when people over a certain age do streaming. Jordan's very nice, but he's not as broken as those of us. He's right here, man.
It's okay. I'm happy. It's fine. Life's good.
Detoxis, what's going on? Thank you for the follow. While Jordan is very nice. When people start a sentence that, while Jason's pretty nice, you know what that really means? Even though I can't stand that guy, I have to say something nice because he's right there. I'll give you a hug after stream just so you feel better.
Appreciate
Okay,
it.
good.
Hey, somebody likes us.
I'm lying. I'm not going to hug him.
Give it time.
Give it time. Yeah, he's hanging out with Jen and me. So
It's true.
it's only downhill from here.
It's true. It's true. I can't really get any more happy and go lucky than I normally am. So it is truly all downhill from here.
My goal is to break all these youngins. And you know how we're doing it? By hiring their parents.
Yep.
So
Jabe's mom and Shelby's mom.
Jabe and
start
Schlebby's
today.
mom works for us now. As of today, we hired their mother.
Yeah.
So funny.
This morning when we were walking her around the office and showing her where everything was, she was in production just having a blast. She's like, "Oh my God, this is so fun!" and I was like, I need to stop you real quick. I need to say that this bonding moment, I need to share that, and Gabe was right there, and I put my hand on his shoulder and I go, "This one you did a great job with." And she goes, "Yes, I know." And I look through the door out of production into the employee lounge, and right
Shelby
dead
there.
across on the love seat is Schlebby, all sprawled out in her morning read upside down pose. And I said, "But that one, that one we need to talk about."
I'm saying that Jordan is sweet. I need a dose of bitterness to keep me from feeling inadequate.
Oh, you're totally perfect.
It was very eye-opening on just how poorly I have been starting into this hobby. All great learning opportunities.
Slavic, these are the things that are tough to learn because they're generally how you adapt into painting by experiencing the I won't say problems, because painting and artwork in general doesn't necessarily have problems tied to it. There are struggles you might hit given, like what we're trying to do, paint three-dimensional surfaces that could be, plastic that's been sitting on your shelf and handled with Cheeto fingers for a year. You never know. And so you'll find your ways around the things that will become roadblocks for you, and hopefully you'll adapt, and that'll become your painting style. I mean, that's literally what it is. In today's world where there's so much information out there available for you to download instantaneously on the web, there's lots of good things you can learn, but what's not exposed most of the time is the situation they're painting in, and that's 100% of the disconnect. The end game and the experience and the influence that it has is all great. It's going to give us some good things to look at. I know I watch people that are painting and I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. That would be really cool to try. But what I don't take away, personally, I don't take away any of the process they've showed me except for maybe a few pinpoint examples, because I know my area is totally different than their area. The way they're airbrushing, the way somebody posted a video in Discord today about a guy over in England showing the new Harder and Steenbeck airbrush and how to get paints to work in it, what he does to make it work, and yada yada. But he's like a t-shirt painter. He's a fine art painter, but he does like canvas and 2D stuff. And so the way he paints is totally different. So listening to somebody like that and then trying to cross it over to what you're doing in our art with liquid acrylics is going to be totally different. And it might cause you to get mad, to say, well, that didn't work. That person's stupid. Well, no, they're not, but you got to dig deeper, and you have to use the information that you get. The information you just got here today, right? You don't take it to heart and go just do it and expect it to make you a better painter. You take it and you adapt it into what you're doing on a daily basis and say, oh yeah, Jason said this, or Jordan said that, or Marco Frazzoni said this, and this other person I saw said this, and you take all those pieces and you combine them together and see what works on your palette with your brush, your tap water, right? There's so many variances in everything that we do, and that's what becomes your style. Right? And so always, remind yourself of that, so that if you're trying to replicate something you see online, regardless of where it came from, and it's not working out for you, don't get disgruntled. Just remember that you're not in the exact same situation they were in. You don't have the experience that they did. You don't have the same environment that they're in, so on and so forth. Because all those little nuances can change things. And just a small change when you're dealing in such small details can make a big outcome difference. So, makes sense?
Makes sense.
Blood Thief, Soren the Blood Thief says that non-metallic gold is amazing.
Well, thank you, sir.
It is turning out amazing, right?
Takes a minute to build up.
Mo, that's the only time that you should do exactly what I told you to the letter, is when dealing with the police. He says, I tell the cops all the time, Jason Craze said so. As you should, Mo. As you should. I'll send you another batch of cards, because I know you ran out. Dick Weeds just wanted to drive by as you were live. Hey, what's going on? We're at quitting time.
We are at
gift
quitting
card for
time.
Dragonfall. Did you got all those handled, Jordan?
I got all of the ones that they gave me handled.
Okay.
Is somebody saying that they didn't get a gift
No,
card?
he's saying that he.
Oh,
was thanking
thank you.
us for
Okay,
it,
perfect.
And I just want to make
Yeah.
sure that
Good.
the one that reached out got taken care of.
Yeah, they had.
Oh,
two,
Richard.
yeah.
This is Richard Reeds, not
But yes.
Dick Weeds. But he changed his name, right, from Richard Reeds
To Dick Weeds.
to his nickname, obviously. Shino Nomura, thank you for the information. I just got a figure garage kit and I've been trying to wrap my head around how to get started on it as I have never dabbled in this field, so all this info helps. That's awesome! Welcome, number one, to our wonderful hobby of figurine painting.
What a great stream for you to pop into.
I was going to say,
talking
we
about
actually
priming.
had non-fart joke good info today, so...
Yeah, we weren't talking about tartar sauce
We
and
didn't talk about
chicken
tartar
nuggets
sauce
all
the whole
day.
time.
Every now and then, we give some words of wisdom out there. But yeah, we do this 5 days a week. It is our outro, so we can talk about this. So we do this 5 days a week, you know. So if you're around, you have other questions, things you're looking at as you get involved in painting the figure, building the figure, whatever. Jordan did a great video on our YouTube channel that was called How to Build and Prep Your Model and Get It Ready for Painting. And then, of course, we talk about painting every single day. So whether we're, you know, in the weeds on a model and deep in it, or starting one, or doing fast or slow painting, doesn't matter. Like you've seen today, we don't really have a focus on progress on the stream. We're here to be able to share painting with you guys and gals so that you can walk away feeling more confident with questions answered. Don't care what products it's about, just so long as it's about painting, well, or bad life advice. We're usually pretty good with it. So thanks for stopping by. Everybody that's around here, if you're new, please hit that follow button. We do stream 5 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like today, we do the noon to 2 p.m. Pacific time in the U.S. show for our hobby lunch. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, like tomorrow coming up, we do 2 to 5. And tomorrow is you're going over the Halloween, the
Yes,
October
yeah.
challenge
I'm
stuff
gonna-
from Discord. So tomorrow, for the last hour of the stream or so, we'll be going over all the entrants in the Discord challenge from October, which is the month of spooky. So make sure if you have an entry in that, or if you just want to see us go over people's models, we critique them and pick winners. So it'll be fun. So we're going to do that for the last hour tomorrow. And then, yeah, 5 days a week. We'd love to see you back here. Hang out with us more. Learn some painting. Share some painting. Bad jokes and all that good stuff. Awkward Panda, thank you so much for the raid. Glad you got a chance to stick around. We're out of here. Have a wonderful evening. Stick around for the raid that we're going to do. So show some love in the chat we wind up in. There's a lot of wonderful hobbyists out there, and it's free to hit the follow button, so do it.
2 to
Right.
5, Slavic.
We'll see you tomorrow.
5.
Take care, gang.
Hey, somebody likes us.